Just giving everybody opportunity to get in the room right quick. I'm actually trying to change something right quick. I got something that didn't go right on the website. All right, there we go. Just giving everybody opportunity to get in the room right quick. I'm actually trying to change something right quick. I got something that didn't go right on the website. All right, so that's on. 1 second. Trying to change something right quick. I got something that didn't. Okay. Yeah. All right, I had to go make sure they try to get in from the website. They could get on from the website as well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You hear me pretty good?
I can hear you well.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure you was getting me. Let me put us on Instagram and then we'll be ready to go. I need an assistant to do all this, but I can do it myself for right now. All right. Harold, you there?
Yes, you ready?
All right, so let's get this thing started, man. It's 8 o'clock. I want to welcome you to the Xperience. This is my own little special show I do where I just get people that I know to come and hang out with me. And we talk about, different issues and things that's going on. And just get the people's, get your opinion and see what the people got to say. I know you're running for the Cap County Sheriff. So when I see you, I know I went to school with you and that kind of thing. So I wanted to bring you on the show. And I know you ran for office 3 or 4 years ago?
Yes, I ran for the sheriff.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yes. I ran for sheriff in 2016, and my first time I ran was in 2001 when Durham Brown was assassinated.
Oh, okay. And I know you finished second last year, right? The last time that the elections, right?
Yes, I finished second. I came in second with 60,000 votes.
Okay. So now that I got you on the show, I want you to just go ahead and introduce yourself, Harold, and just let the people kind of know who you are. Is that me freezing or is that you?
No. Can you hear me now, sir?
Is that me freezing or is that you?
I think that's you, sir.
Okay, I might have to change computers. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm back in my room. I'm back in my back room. So I was trying to do this in this room, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. So damn, it's 8 now. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean it might fade in and out, but I'm gonna try to just go through it. So just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Once again, I'm Harold Dennis, and I would like to thank you, Xavier, for giving me the platform to come on and speak on your show. I'm a native here, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, born at Grady Hospital, and I lived in Carver Home Zone 3 for those who are true AT aliens. And then we moved over to Decatur, where I grew up the rest of my life here in Atlanta in DeKalb County. Attended Towers and Columbia High School, and I came out class in '90. Joined the police department with the City of Stone Mountain Police Department back in 1992 when I graduated the police academy. I've been involved in law enforcement up to 17 years. When I left the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, I was a reserve lieutenant with the Sheriff's Office, working under Sid Dorsey's administration back when he was the sheriff. I left the law enforcement community to pursue my second dream, which was to become an airline pilot. And so that's what I'm currently doing now is an airline pilot. I fly. I enjoy flying around the world. And right now I'm coming back to serve my community. I currently still live here in DeKalb County, and I see DeKalb as in a dire emergency to have someone come back, especially from DeKalb County and take it over. So that's why my slogan says, let's take DeKalb back, because I have the heart for the people. I care about the people here in DeKalb, all over DeKalb County, Decatur, Doraville, Brookhaven, Lithonia, it doesn't matter. All over DeKalb County, I care about everybody in my county. And I just want to see my community to begin to thrive. Back when we was growing up, Zay, when we was doing the talent shows at Columbia High School, and you had the club, the Gate, and 559.
Right.
DeKalb was in a predicament. It was in a special place. Everyone wanted to live in DeKalb County. It was safe. And now no one wants to live in the county. They want to move out of the county. And so another one of my big things is saying where crime dies, a city thrives. And I'm just trying to make my county thrive again, like how it used to be back when we were growing up.
Okay. Well, with that being said, I have to ask you, and I know you grew up in the neighborhood. We went to school together, but like what gave you the ambition to run, to run for sheriff?
Well, what gave me the ambition was back in 2001. That was my very first time ever running for politics. We all knew and loved Durham Brown. We knew his kids, they grew up in the county. And, when he was working for the DeKalb Police, the last unit I remember him distinctly working at was the Black Cats. We all remember the Black Cats because Atlanta had the Red Dogs. And
Right.
he vowed that he was going to clean up DeKalb County. He's going to clean up the corruption. And I remember the night when he was elected sheriff-elect. He was so happy. His family was happy. I mean, it was a thriving time off of Glenwood. I lived off Glenwood. And to have him assassinated, man, that hurt my heart to have him assassinated like that. And so I said, you know what? Maybe I should run for office. Maybe I should step up and make a difference. And my mom has always told me, you can either be a part of the problem or part of the solution. And that sparked me, and that became part of the solution. I want to step up and do the right thing for my county. A lot of people talk the talk, Zay, but they don't walk the walk. They'll talk behind doors, but they don't go down and put that name on their signature and go ahead and sign up to try to even make a positive change.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So let me ask you this: What makes you the better candidate? I know we got another young lady that's been in. She's been in DeKalb County. She's trying to get her feet wet as far as I think she's the acting sheriff now, Maddox.
Yeah, she's the interim sheriff. A lot of people like to say, well, she's the sheriff, but no, she's not the sheriff. She's the interim sheriff, like Thomas Brown was, also like Jeff Mann, because she was not elected for by the people. And people really need to understand, in order to hold the sheriff title as just sheriff and no interim, you have to be elected for by the people. So she was appointed by Jeff Mann when he decided to go ahead and step down because he had lost his certification to continue to be a police officer. So they kind of moved her in position so they could appoint her to be the interim sheriff and then to try to win the sheriff position.
Okay, well, like I asked you in the beginning, with her being there, and I know she's going to run too. So what makes you the better candidate?
Well, what makes me the better candidate is, like I stated, I'm born and raised right here in DeKalb County, right here in Decatur, and I know everybody in DeKalb. I know what it is to live in Decatur. I know what it is to live in DeKalb, and I know what the people want. The people want someone that's going to step up and do the right thing. There's so much corruption running rapid in DeKalb County. If you look at DeKalb County school system, with the superintendent, what's going on at DeKalb schools, even if you look at the heart of DeKalb government, with the CEO's office and things of that nature, the taxpayers are not getting what they deserve. You know, they pay their taxes, and when your mom and my mom and your aunt and family members, when they can't go sit on their own porch because they fear crime, carjackings and home invasions, I feel that I'm the best person for that. I know people right here in DeKalb County, good and bad. I mean, I worked off duty at O'Reilly's for years. I built a rapport with those people. They love me. It's been plenty of incidents where I could have taken people to jail, but I elected to use common sense. Give people breaks to say, hey, let's not let this happen again. If I catch you again, I'm gonna have to take you to jail. And I earned their respect. So, I mean, you can put a gun and a badge on. Yeah, they might respect your uniform, but they don't necessarily respect you as an individual. But as you know, being in the entertainment industry, you have to get your street credits, your stripes. And so I feel by me growing up in DeKalb County, people know me. I built that rapport that I'm the best person for DeKalb. Not just trying to lock up people, but also trying to give these individuals who've been locked up a second chance. I'm the only one that has a second chance program by reaching out to different business owners to help employ them once they get out of jail. I'm not talking $5 and $6 an hour jobs. I'm talking $15, $16, and $17 an hour jobs. I'm trying to get them jobs once they get out. I don't hear any other sheriffs saying they're going to do that. Also starting a human sex trafficking task force. As you know, if you look at the news, sex trafficking has been on the rise. I mean, they have women being sex trafficked right now at DeKalb County schools.
Right.
So, I want to get in and stop that. I mean, we have to stop that. And I feel that I'm the best person to do that. Why? Because I'm from here. I know the people from here, and people are going to come talk to me just because they know me and they know the type of man that I am.
Okay. Well, like I say, the DeKalb County Sheriff, just the whole department has a bad reputation of corruption and that kind of thing. Do you think they deserve it? And also, like, what would you do to change it?
Well, yes, they do have a bad reputation as far as corruption. And my plan of action to change that is to start a citizen review board. And to be fair about who's on that board, I would use the registered homeowners associations that are registered throughout DeKalb County. So we're not just talking about people up in Dunwoody or people in Tucker. We're also talking about people in South DeKalb, County Line, Ellenwood, Boulder Crest area. We're talking registered homeowners associations with DeKalb County and getting various members from the board to come make up my citizen review board. And we'll swap them out every 4 months. So that way it's not the same people and it will be fair. And I'll bring transparency to the people of DeKalb County. It's not my money that we're talking. We're talking about your money, my money as a taxpayer, but the money belongs to the taxpayers. And when the sheriff gets their budget, they don't have to disclose that to anybody. That's not my money. So I need to disclose that and show everybody when we get our budget, how we spend our budget, and what we're going to actually do with the money. Let's get some input from the taxpayers. And that's why I'd like to start this citizen review board to do that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, because, I've been arrested as well in DeKalb County. So I know the process as far as, the intake and the processing out of the jail. Will there be any changes under your regime as far as like, now I do notice there is a difference. Like when you go and you're incarcerated in Gwinnett County, it's a faster process as far as going into jail and getting out of jail. Will you be making any type of changes as far as like, just being honest, it may take you a half a day, you might change shifts at DeKalb County before you can get out of jail on a small traffic misdemeanor ticket or a small ticket or whatever. It may take you 8 hours just to get out on a small ticket. So would you be making any type of changes in that manner?
Certainly. You know, that's always been a big problem with DeKalb County. And day one, addressing that when I take office, yes, I will do that. And it's funny that you said that. I was talking to some other people the other day, and we was talking about that. That was one of the things that popped up. When you pay the money to bond out, I don't care if it's a simple traffic ticket, whatever you get a bond for by the judge, if your family can afford your bond and bond you out, you need to be out of there no later than an hour and a half to 2 hours tops. If you're there longer than that, we got a problem. I'm going to have a problem with the sergeant over in admin, because that's the particular department that deals with that. So I would have a problem with the sergeant. I would also have a problem with the lieutenant that oversees the admin, because when you bond out, you need to be out, not sitting there in jail waiting 24 hours later, because you have loved ones that are sitting outside waiting to pick you up and take you home. Not, yeah, we paid your money, we'll call you when you get out. No, that doesn't work like that. That's still customer service driven. And you will get great customer service at DeKalb County under my administration when it comes to bonding out. We would definitely revamp that whole program of how they're doing bonds over at the over on the admin side.
Now, the other thing also too, Dennis, is when we talk about being in jail, as far as the phone calls in that situation, it's kind of expensive to make a phone call from DeKalb County. You do know that. I mean, it's like, I think it's $3 for every 15 minutes. So if you're in jail and you're trying to contact your loved ones, and you know, most people that's being arrested, they 9 times out of 10 come in jail either without money or little money at all. So would you be trying to make any type of arrangements that's making that, I wouldn't say free, but an affordable situation for inmates that's in the jail?
No, I can certainly say free. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that goes to one of those contracts that we were talking about earlier about corruption in DeKalb County. There's so much corruption in DeKalb. The sheriff's office can make so much money. It's ridiculous. I'm not in it to make money on the backs of the individuals who've been incarcerated in DeKalb County. So making phone calls will actually be free. Listen, let's just be honest. You got people who did a crime, whatever, but they need to talk to their loved ones, or they need to talk to attorneys. If they don't have any money on the outside, what makes you think they're going to have money on the inside? Every sheriff in DeKalb for the past 50 years have been arrested. Every sheriff in DeKalb County, listen to me, for the past 50 years have been arrested, right? So we're talking about making money off people's backs. You said $3. Listen to that. $3. That's a lot of money. And we're even talking
every
about
15.
Right. We're even also talking about commissary. That's what got Pat Jarvis in trouble. He and his wife, they went to jail, messing around, putting their hand in that cookie jar with the commissary. I don't need to make money off people who are trying to make phone calls. We can afford to let people make free phone calls to speak to their loved ones. That also goes back to earning those free phone calls. If you behave while you're incarcerated, not a troublemaker, not causing any waves, destroying county property, i.e. the beds, your shoes, flooding the jail. If you're not a troublemaker, you deserve the right to call your family and speak to your family. I won't charge you on.
Okay, so now, in speaking on that, I have to ask you about the like, now that we've gotten a lot older, and we was kind of like here when the gang thing kind of first started here with like Down by Law. You know, and like that, but you know, now we can sit back and laugh about it, because you know it was kind of like something fun that you knew that it was going on, but it wasn't a big deal. You know what I'm saying? But it did get serious when those guys went and committed crimes over in Decatur. So I have to ask you this: what is going to be how you're going to deal with the whole gang violence and the whole gang perspective here in DeKalb County?
Certainly, starting a gang task force. If you go on my website, you will see that. And I'm starting a gang task force simply because back when we were growing up, did we really have gangs? No, not really. We had a group of people, they hung together. We never really dressed alike or had, you know, bandanas and claiming to be Crips and Bloods and all that stuff. But now it is a serious gang problem. The DeKalb police used to have a great gang task force. Somehow they didn't find it in the budget to continue that task force, and it's really sad because in order to tackle the gang problem that's occurring in DeKalb County, not just DeKalb, but Fulton, Clayton, we need a task force to be able to collaboratively work with other agencies to share intel, to share intelligence, to crack down on these gangs, because the gang problem, as you know, it is getting fierce, not just in DeKalb, but all over. So we really need to start a gang task force, which is something that I'll be doing. And we can also facilitate federal funds by starting a gang task force. And like I stated, working with the other agencies to come together and tackle this gang problem.
Okay, but now let me ask you this: South DeKalb area, because I know mainly when we start talking about DeKalb County, it just seems like a lot of the programs and things are designed toward the Black community, which is the South DeKalb area. Will y'all be making any type of outreach into those northern communities like Dunwoody and Shamley and those type of places?
Certainly. First of all, I have a gentleman that will be joining me. He'll be coming over from Atlanta Police. He's young. He's very energetic. He worked with me, and we spoke a lot on starting a lot of youth programs in DeKalb, and that's to get them off of gangs and getting them, you know, becoming productive citizens in the county. So we have a lot of aggressive youth programs that we will be initiating, but we can also secure federal funds to help with the youth. And that's not just going to be just for South DeKalb, but that's for all over the county. Currently, they do have a junior deputy program. I don't think it's really operating the way it needs to be. We'll certainly revamp that junior deputy program. And the reason why I say that is because at that point now I can look to hire some of these young individuals when they turn 17 to start working at the sheriff's department as a detention tech and making money and starting their career at DeKalb. So I'm looking to go out and aggressively attract these young teenagers that have a lot of idle time on their hands, so we can make them productive citizens of the county.
Now, will the county be allotting a budget as far as those projects are concerned, like the outreach programs for the teens?
Certainly. It won't cost the county anything. Like I said, I have a great grant writer that'll be coming on board with me. And a lot of these programs that I will be able to facilitate getting federal money to come. So this won't be raising taxes for the taxpayers of DeKalb County, but getting free money that's out there. I mean, you need to have the right people on board with you to know how to write these grants and to get the monies to help with your different programs that you're trying to initiate.
Okay. Now, going back to the jail, I have to go back to that because earlier, I think it was like probably right before the pandemic, if not like right at the end of the year, they had a lot of protesters at the jail, you know, talking about a lot of the people that was inside of the jail were being mistreated. Do you believe that the people were being mistreated? And
Okay.
what would you do to change that?
Okay. Well, by me not currently being there, I can't say if they were being mistreated. That would be unfair to speak on that. But I would go through and do a serious review of the policy that's currently in place, especially with the use of force. That would be a big policy that I would review with my new incoming staff. We're not in the business of beating people or making them to conform to what we want them to. You know, as we stated, they're all innocent until proven guilty. We're not the judge. Our place as the sheriff is to hold them until the due process is done, and that's going to jail, getting booked, also going to court, seeing the judge and determining what the outcome would be, and then once they're sentenced, then we want to quickly move them out of the county facility into the state facility. We're not in the business of holding people for other agencies like that. You know, if you've been processed, then we need to go ahead and process you out. But we'll certainly look at that use of force, and we'll go through and make positive changes that needs to be made. I understand that they were saying that the food was molded. There again, I can't speak on that behalf. And if I spoke, I would be being, not forthcoming because I wasn't there privy to understand exactly what was going on.
I mean, now, Dennis, you do know we homeboys. Now, you do know that food is horrible at DeKalb County now.
I do.
So,
I mean, I've been told, and that's another thing. We had, it goes back to the contracts. That food service contract will be revamped. We will no longer use that particular food vendor that they're using, and that's another thing that can cause an uproar at a county facility. When you're feeding someone garbage, they're going to act like garbage. But if you treat them like human beings and feed them decent, then therefore they wouldn't act out.
well, I did spend a little time in Gwinnett. The treatment is totally different. But like I said, like even when you talk about the jail in itself, like will you be dismantling like the SWAT teams, like those gang teams like they have for disorderly inmates and those type of things? Will you be dismantling that, or will you be keeping it but kind of, putting some restrictions and that kind of thing on it?
So that's the CERT team that's inside the jail. I would certainly look at the policy which they operate under, and see what the problems are, and to address those issues and those problems. We need a CERT team, but there again, that's going back to use of force. We're not in there to just be beating on people. That's not our job. But we can't certainly allow an individual to come in and take over the jail. You came to my house. I didn't come to your house. So we have rules and regulations that we all must abide by. But I'm not going to have a team just running through, just beating people, tasing people, to try to make them conform.
Okay. So, because I have to ask you, because a lot of that force that's being used, like even when you look at what happened to George Floyd in Minnesota, you have to look at like, that's like a granted force that they use because they're being given that authority to use. Are they being given that type of authority to use that type of force, or are they being told to not use that type of force but using it anyway?
Well, in the Floyd case, we'll certainly talk about that. I got a chance to truly look at that video, and what was disturbing to me as a law enforcement officer, you don't use those type of tactics. I was never even taught that in the academy, and I went through the academy back in 1990s. We were never told to put your knee behind an individual's neck to subdue them. But that case is so unique because he was already handcuffed. If you're already handcuffed, you don't need to exert any force. He wasn't resisting arrest. We're only supposed to use force to effect the arrest. If he's already arrested with the handcuffs on him, you don't need to exert any force. Just put the individual in the car, transport him to the jail, and have him booked into the jail. So no, my officers or my deputies would not be exerting that type of force to take control of an individual. There are plenty of other things that you can do other than physically restraining someone. When you're in jail, there are a lot of privileges. Television, something simple as just a television. If you take their television rights away, or like I stated earlier, free phone calls, if you take that away, a lot of individuals are straightened up. You don't have to necessarily exert force. I mean, because a jail is a unique beast. You're already incarcerated. So now you can take privileges from them. You don't have to physically harm them to make them understand or make them do what you want them to do.
Right. Well, but when we look at the case of George Floyd, we look at the same type of corruption we see like in Brunswick County. And I said this on my post today. It has to be some type of agenda inside of the police force with white officers. And what would you do, being that you will be the sheriff, to like dismantle those groups, or to find out if there are any type of groups like that on your force?
Well, certainly. Being the head sheriff or being the police chief, you have to weigh heavily on your background in recruiting. You have to almost handpick that team, because if you just have anybody running your background and recruiting, then that can come back to bite you. And what I mean by that is when you have someone that's not really doing a good background check on the individuals that you're employing, now you can let people slip past the cracks that are um, part of racial groups. Um, and that's either even black or white. I mean, that can go either way. You can let people infiltrate your department that are gang affiliated. They just don't have any criminal records that prevent them from being a police officer, but they're true gang members. As you saw earlier a few years ago when Dekalb Police, Stone Mountain Police had actual police officers protecting the drug dealers while they was doing drug trans. So you need to have a great background in recruiting to hire people and really dive into these individuals' backgrounds. The difference getting on with the Dekalb Police or the Dekalb Sheriff as opposed to the FBI, they'll go back and talk to your third grade teacher. At the Sheriff's Office, we don't go talk to your third grade teacher. So there are a lot of new ways to bring people on board, but do a thorough background.
Okay. Well, I have to ask you this too. With the emergence of marijuana now, Fulton County has kind of lightened up their laws and legislation as far as marijuana. And I'm one of the victims, so I got to ask you, because I know you'll be going in office, will you be laxing or enforcing the marijuana laws that currently presides in DeKalb County? Those laws that preside in DeKalb County, you know, are different in Fulton and Gwinnett. Will you be trying to change those laws, or would you be letting, or will DeKalb County still be standing on the marijuana laws that still stand right now?
Well, as the sheriff, as I tell people, we don't make the law. We just enforce the laws that are on the books. That's your state legislatures to change the law. Basically, the sheriff, our job, our primary functions of the sheriff's office is to provide security of the courts, to provide security of the jail, and to serve the papers of the court, i.e. warrants or silver papers. So therefore, you don't really see a lot of deputy sheriffs out making cases on marijuana because we're kind of busy with the primary functions of, as I stated earlier, we're doing security in the courthouse, security in the jails, and serving warrants. So the answer to your question would be basically that's your state legislature. We don't really get out and enforce marijuana laws. We're basically, when we come for you, we're coming because we actually have a warrant for your arrest.
Oh, so the sheriff really, they never processed the marijuana. So that's really like the police department.
That's pretty much handled by the DeKalb Police. We, like I stated, our primary functions are, and that's what they're currently doing now. Now, if my agency decides to start doing more law enforcement functions, then we would actually go by what laws that are on the books as far as marijuana arrests. But I can certainly tell you, if you have one or two little marijuana joints or cigarettes or whatever you want to call them, swishers, I don't think we're going to be bringing you to jail in no two joints of marijuana. I'm just being honest. As the sheriff, I'm not going to allow that. First of all, we have the biggest jail southeast of the Mississippi. Our jail holds 3,800 inmates. I'm not trying to fill my jail up with simple misdemeanors. That's basically up to the DeKalb Police. If they're making those type of arrests, then that's with DeKalb. But as the sheriff, I don't have to hold them. I can actually just let you out, do a SOR, which is sign your own release and let you out of jail. I'm not going to have you sitting in my jail because they locked you up with 2 marijuana joints.
Okay. Now, a lot of time people don't know that, you know, they know about short term, being jailed for short term, and then you can be jailed for long term in the county jail. What type of programs will you be having, you know, to rehabilitate inmates that may have did a year, maybe a year and a half in DeKalb County Jail?
Certainly, I would like to partner up with the technical college. I understand they do have some type of programs. I would have to review the programs that are currently in place. And if they don't have a program that suits my taste, I would certainly work with them to see if we can come over and teach these individuals a trade. So when they do get out, they do know heating and air conditioning. They do know welding, something that they will be able to sustain life once they get out of DeKalb County Jail.
Right, because like what I'm saying now, there is no type of rehabilitation. So even if a dude come in there and have a charge and he gets out, he goes right back to the community to commit the same thing because number one, he has no way to get a job. Number two, he's back in the community where he committed the crime. So, like I was saying, what like a lot of the corruption that's been going on in DeKalb County comes because a lot of the contractual things that DeKalb did as far as the sheriff department, the schools, and that kind of thing. Again, what type of jobs will you be trying to offer in your rehabilitation programs outside? I know you just mentioned like welding and that kind of thing, but how like what other type of jobs will you be offering? Like would it be any type of technical jobs, any type of jobs where people
Well,
can really make money, or would it be like manual jobs?
well, different jobs basically that will be willing to work with me and partner with me into hiring nonviolent felons. Um, there are a number of jobs. I even have a company from a gentleman that went to school with us, Mr. Pope, who owns Pope and Pope Towing. He said he would love to hire drivers. You know, he pays his drivers, $14, $15 an hour. So there are various jobs that are willing to work with me. And I want to go to the county commission and say, hey, can we not give these business owners tax breaks that help employ some of our inmates? And I'm quite sure they'll be willing to work with this one. And also there is a federal program right now that's paying $1,000 per individual to a job who hires inmates. And basically it's the second chance program.
Okay, so and I know we talked about the programs earlier, and a lot of the problems that's going on in DeKalb County now is because like we were saying earlier, um, a lot of the teenagers don't have any type of program to actually go to. So when they're skipping school or they doing whatever they're doing, they're going to break into houses and they're doing those type of things. Where do you feel like that responsibility fall on? Does that responsibility fall on the DeKalb schools to have a better type of program for the kids, or is that something that falls back on you guys when you have to go out and make the arrest of teenagers and put them right back? You know, I think the turnover ratio. I'm not sure how that thing goes at the jail, but I think the turnover for teenagers, like they come in and they go right back out.
Right. The recidivism rate, it's high in the cab. Basically, it does. I'm not going to say it falls on the cab schools. I'm not just going to leave them at it. I'm not just going to say it falls on the sheriff's office. It falls on the whole community, not just the schools, the sheriff's office, but also the churches in the community. We all have to come together and work together. Like they say, it takes a village. It takes a whole village to tackle this problem. Like I stated, I'm bringing programs with me to attract the youth off of gangs, to be able to employ them and give them jobs, not just at the sheriff's office, but also with the other companies that are willing to partner with me and to help give jobs. But we need our ministers from these big churches to help get involved. We need the CAB school systems, to help get involved. Basically, we need everyone to help get involved to help our youth. Because if we don't reach out to our youth and be there for our youth, there's no need for anything else, because the youth is tomorrow. They're our tomorrow.
So now let me ask you this, because I have to ask you this, and because this is what I was thinking about the other day. Now I've been in the cab jail a few times, and I'm just asking you this, on just giving me your opinion on it. When I'm in the cab, I see a lot of black inmates, and the cab is a big county. It's a very big county. I don't see a lot of arrests being made or and that type of thing being made on the north side of the cab opposed to the south side of the cab. The dispersion of officers in the black neighborhood are sometimes, it's kind of mixed. I won't say it's all white like it was when we was growing up, but when you're in office, and when you're in office, will you be dispersing those officers into the community, or have some type of say so of the officer that will be dispersing in those communities?
So there again, let's look at the cabin as a whole. From the corruption that has been so rampant in the cab government, you've had a lot of cities to break off from the cab and form their own city. So when they form their own cities, a lot of them start their own law enforcement. And that's basically so they can control that police chief and the way they police their communities. So Dunwoody has their own police department, Brookhaven, Chambly, Dorville, Lithonia, Pine Lake, Clarkston, Stone Mountain. So you have all these cities who have their own agencies. As the sheriff, I don't control them on how they patrol. I don't control them on whom they lock up. But certainly, as the sheriff, if elected, I will be bringing in new programs at the sheriff's office that's never been done before. So, like I stated, our primary functions at the sheriff's office as a deputy sheriff and as the sheriff is the security of the courts, security of the courthouse, and also serving the papers. So right now we have not really had a sheriff's office to really get involved with a lot of the day-to-day operations as police. But we need to work closely with DeKalb Police because DeKalb Police is short. They're very short on manpower. So we need to collaboratively come together and work together. And that way we will be able to have deputy sheriffs in the various cities within the county, because ultimately they do still live in DeKalb County, but they live in those cities where DeKalb Police can't patrol in those cities when they have their own law enforcement, but DeKalb Sheriff can. So certainly you'll see a lot more law enforcement functions from the sheriff's office.
So you just taught me something. So basically what you're saying is the DeKalb County Police really just polices South DeKalb.
Basically, they police the unincorporated areas of DeKalb County. So even though, let's take, for instance, Stonecrest, even though they just came online. Well, Stonecrest, they don't have their own law enforcement agency right now. They are in the process of starting to get their own police department. Once they come together and start their own police department, DeKalb Police will no longer patrol in Stonecrest. DeKalb Police, they don't patrol in the city of Lithonia. If they come across something, they have to call Lithonia to have them to come out. Now, there is one proposal on the table for the state legislature, and that's to bring the city of Greenhaven. I'm glad that you brought that up because this is very, very important. The city of Greenhaven, if they vote for the city of Greenhaven to come in, there will no longer be DeKalb Police at all. Because now what the city of Greenhaven is proposing is starting their own city, getting their own law enforcement. So therefore, all the unincorporated areas of DeKalb County will no longer be. Now it would be patrolled by the city of Greenhaven. So the only law enforcement agency in the county that would truly exist would be the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office. You can't get rid of the sheriff. We are the county, but the county police, they patrol the unincorporated areas of the county. A good example, even though it's not DeKalb, but let's look at Fulton County. When the city of South Fulton came online, what do you think that did to Fulton County Police, the county police? They dwindled to a super, super low number. They only patrol parts of Fulton Industrial and a little sliver of Old National because the city of South Fulton has taken over all the territory.
So what up? So a lot of these counties, like, so inside of these little small towns like Stone Mountain, Lithonia, Chambly, Dunwoody, are those precincts equipped enough to handle the type of crime that's happening in those communities?
If not, they have to, because they have their own police departments. They patrol their own city limits, within the limits. If they need backup, they might call DeKalb for some extra manpower, but DeKalb Police don't patrol there. They don't write tickets. They don't enforce any laws in those cities because those cities have their own municipality, which DeKalb Police, they have no jurisdiction in the cities, only in the unincorporated areas of DeKalb County.
And I hear you keep saying that, but the unincorporated area of DeKalb County is South DeKalb.
Pretty much. That's until the city of Greenhaven, once again, there's legislation right now at the state capitol. They're trying to form the city of Greenhaven. If the city of Greenhaven becomes a city, and that, once again, that's why I'm glad that you brought that up. So the citizens of South DeKalb really need to be paying attention to the legislation that's on the table at the capitol, because if they pass that and everybody votes for it and they're not aware of it and they don't vote, and then somebody else vote and it comes in, There will be no more DeKalb police. It's going to be the city of Greenhaven. So now, not only will your taxes go up, but you won't even have DeKalb police because you're going to still pay the county tax. And now you're going to have to pay the new city tax for Greenhaven.
And I'm not being funny. Where is Greenhaven?
Greenhaven would consist of all of South DeKalb from Boulder Crest going all the way up there close to Tucker. Basically, Tucker has their own city, but they've been using DeKalb police to patrol within the city of Tucker because they don't have a police department like Stonecrest. But you can rest assured, if Greenhaven comes on board, Tucker will probably form their own police department. So it basically, Greenhaven will be surrounding the little town of Stone Mountain. They will surround Lithonia. They just won't go in those city limits, but they'll have their own city just outside. So now, as you saw earlier, Clarkston tried to annex all the way up to North DeKalb Mall. I think DeKalb County Board of Commissioners kind of blocked them from annexing part of that into their city. But if Greenhaven comes on, no other city can annex anything else in the county because it's all going to be taken up by the city of Greenhaven.
Okay. I want to ask, Tariq Matthews says, what are your thoughts on community policies?
What are my thoughts on which policy, sir?
Community policies.
Community policies.
That's kind of a.
Can you ask me? Can you expound on that?
I mean, his next question was, what changes would you make under your leadership? Then he asked another one, how would your department change? Okay, he asked the same question twice. I guess I didn't see it in time enough. But he's asking, like, what would be, I guess he's asking, what would be your, I guess he's asking, what would be your involvement with the community from the sheriff's office perspective?
Well, I'm going to be very involved. People always say, well, the sheriff doesn't have a boss. And a sheriff does have a boss. Technically, does he really have a boss? No, because he's an elected official. But the citizens of the county who elected that sheriff, that's my boss. So you would definitely see me out heavily involved in the community because I want to work with the community. I want to bridge that gap between the sheriff's office and the community. Also, I'll be starting, a new community involvement section of the sheriff's office. And we would certainly be out there in the community all the time. I'm not one of those type that sit behind a desk. I'll definitely be out there. A lot of people, like, let's take Victor Hill, for instance, for Clayton County. Why do people love Victor Hill? Because he's out in the community. He's actively involved in the community, not just locking people up, but he's actively out there giving away money during Christmas, giving away turkeys. He's involved with his community because he cares for his community. He's connected with his community. And that's the type of sheriff that you're going to get out of me. You will definitely see me out there actively involved. I've already do a lot of career days now. Being an airline pilot, I go and do career days at the different schools in DeKalb County. I don't go to the schools up in Dunwoody. I go to the schools in South DeKalb because they don't have a lot of role models. When I go and I speak to them, I ask them what they want to be when they grow older. And they're like rappers, basketball players, but they never meet pilots. I try to bring a lot of African-American pilots in so they can actually see a different part of, someone making good money and great money other than a rapper or an athlete. So I'm definitely involved in my community.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this about your community. Like, if that same situation, because now that I'm seeing how things break down in the county as far as policing, if that same thing was to happen with George Floyd in on your watch, how would you handle that?
Certainly. If the same thing happened that happened to George on my watch, and it was deputies, they would certainly be terminated, but I can't bring charges up on them. That would be the district attorney. And there again, please be mindful of who you elect in office. If you're just putting the same old people in and expecting a different results, that's the definition of insanity. Please be mindful of who you put in these office in the local elections. Your district attorneys, your sheriffs, your tax commissioner, your state legislatures, your House representatives, if they're not representing you and they're not listening to your voice, then stop voting the same people in because they are an incumbent. They're not doing anything for you. I just had that same conversation with my mom when I helped her vote. I said, are you happy with the state of affairs in DeKalb County? She said, no. Then I said, then why are you still voting for all the same incumbents? Because you're just sending the same people back to represent you and they don't care about you. They're not doing anything for you.
Well, a lot of the things that's going on in DeKalb County, and we talked about it a little earlier, is, especially in the South DeKalb area, a lot of our representatives that we elected are allowing these major corporations and companies to come and buy up South DeKalb. You know what I'm saying? So eventually, maybe in a few more years, we won't have the South DeKalb that we know won't be the South DeKalb anymore.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
It would be no more.
If you look right, because if you look around you now, it's happening in small spurts, but the DeKalb County we know is slowly being sucked up, and that's because of the elected officials that we have and that we've been electing back. Like, I think some of these officials been in office maybe 12, 13, 14, 15 years. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So
of course.
At some point, one of the reasons why I reached out to you, because I want to see a change, and I know how corrupt being a resident and a taxpayer of DeKalb County, I wanted to see a change. And I know, like, especially with seeing the kind of stuff that happened with George Floyd and a lot of the brutality that's going on with Black people, I wanted to see somebody in that office that I know would make a change. And that's why I reached out to you and wanted to have a sit down with you and let other people that may not have a chance to get to know you, get to see your personality and know who you are. You know what I'm
saying? Certainly. And like I stated, I appreciate it. I appreciate the love that you show me. And like I said, why can't we put someone that grew up with us, homegrown? Why can't you give us a try? But you go outside and you elect these people who are not even from DeKalb County. Like I said, you kind of laughed early when I talked about the Gate and Jazzy Tees and all these other places that I can name that we're from here. But you won't give your own homegrown a try, but you'll put other people in office who does nothing to earn your vote, who does nothing to keep anything viable in your communities. Like a lot of people, they don't know the term food desert. Well, food deserts come from Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, and Dollar General. What they're doing is they're letting these box stores come in. They just have a bunch of junk food. They have no fresh produce, and they're running out Kroger's. They're running out Publix. They're running out your big grocery store chains who can provide you great food, other selections other than just junk food. But you have a commissioner right now in her particular district where we live, Zay, they're like $42 stores in her district. Why are you allowing, they're only going to employ you, you're going to pay $6 an hour. That's sad.
And on top of that, it brings the property value.
It does. Right. It brings the property value.
Can you hear me? Did we break up?
I can hear you.
You there?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. All right.
It brings the property value down.
Yeah, but it's breaking. I'm breaking up real bad over here now. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me now? Harold.
Perfect. Can you hear me?
Okay. I got bad. I'm in my backyard, so
okay.
General in the stores that they're putting in the community.
Right. So it's bringing the property values down, and not only is it bringing the property values down, it's allowing gentrification at its finest to come through and buy up all your houses and raise property taxes.
Oh man, come on.
Can you hear me?
Are you there?
Yes,
I can hear
sir.
you fine now. I don't know why my internet is acting crazy. But you was talking about the Dollar Generals and those things that's in the community again. I do want you to finish that because that is a point I want to speak on.
Okay. And when you're allowing these companies to come in, it's allowing gentrification to come in right behind it. I mean, let's look at gentrification, what that is. It's allowing people to come in, like you said, build these nice houses, and what they're doing is they're raising your property taxes. They're raising your property taxes so sky high you can't afford to live there. If you look at, you remember when we was growing up, no one wanted to live in East Atlanta over off Glenwood, or no one wanted to live in Kirkwood. Now look at it.
Nobody.
You can't even move in Kirkwood. It's $750,000 for probably the least expensive house. And if you look at Line Street, I was just on Line Street the other day. Yes, part of them
Right.
Chateau boys, right? Can you hear me?
Right.
So
Yeah,
part
we
of
can
those
hear
Chateau,
you.
right? So part of those Chateau boys that let you know I'm from the streets. But just up from Line Street, if you look on White Oak, now look at that community. It is changing. Gentrification at its finest. They're now starting to buy up all those old houses, tear them down, remodel them, and build these nice houses. And pretty soon, Line Street won't even be the Line Street that you remember.
Right. I mean, I know that now. Like when I moved on my street, when we moved on the street that I live on now, we were like one of the first blacks to live on the street. You know what I'm saying? Like we was like probably one of the only black families, and everybody was white. But we watched all the white families move out, and
Mm-hmm.
all the black families move in. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching all the white families move back in. Now I'm seeing them walk dogs and walk the kids and strollers, and the neighborhood is changing. And I'm seeing
Of
that at
course.
a rapid rate. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And that's because, you know, and I go back to say this again, as a taxpayer, we allow, because we continue to keep voting for the same people, we allow these people to get in office with the same type of corruption, and now we're losing the place that we grew up in. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yes.
We're losing it we're losing it at an alarming rate.
Mm-hmm.
So we need people like you, especially in the sheriff office. That's why I want to give you the platform, because I know a lot of people follow me and they'll look back at this, you know, between the night and tomorrow, and hear what you have to say. But I wanted them to hear you out because I do, like I said, I think you'll be the perfect candidate. You know, you're the perfect person for the job. You know what I mean? So, but I do believe that, like, you know, it is a lot of racism, and it is a lot of stuff that's going on in DeKalb County that needs to be fixed. But it was funny for me to find out tonight that, and I never thought about it like that, that Stone Mountain, Dunwoody, and Shamley and all those places, but all those places had their own police forces. But now, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't DeKalb County house all of the prisoners? Like, if they don't they intake everybody for those counties as well?
They do. So that's why they pay county tax and city tax, because they still provided services from the county, like the fire department. The Cab Fire Department still reigns throughout the county. The only city that has their own fire department that's still in the Cab County limits is the city of Decatur. Other than that, all these other cities that I named, they only have their own police department and maybe sanitation and park and recreations. They handle it themselves, but they still use the county as the fire department. They also still use the county jail with the sheriff's office because they have to. I think Chambly or Dorville, they have a little jail that they house, that they own people with maybe like a simple DUI. They'll hold them for 2 days and let them go. But if they really need to house someone, they just bring them over to the Cab County because they pay county taxes. So they use our facility. So yes, we are holding people for other cities within the county.
Wow, that's crazy, because I always wondered when I was there, I never seen nobody from like Dunwoody or Shamley or none of those places. I seen mostly everybody that was in the DeKalb jail was from the South DeKalb district. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, man, like I said, our hour is up. Is there anything you want to say to the people before you get out of here before we end this?
Certainly. Once again, I want to give you big shouts. Thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing me to even come onto your show to speak with you. So the people who can really hear me and talk to me. I am from here. I want to be your sheriff, and I will be your sheriff if you go and do your civic duty and vote June the 9th, it's sad that certain people get in office is because we don't get off our butts to go and vote. People died for you to have that right. So you should exercise that right and get out and vote. Don't vote just because it's a Democrat or Republican or independent or a Tea Party. Don't get involved with the different parties. Look at the individual. See what they're going to do for you and your taxpaying dollars, because we're strong because of our taxpaying dollars. So make sure that you do your research on every candidate. Make sure that that candidate is the best candidate for you, no matter what the party is, and get out and vote. If you want to make a change, get out and vote Harold Dennis June the 9th, because I'm from here. I understand you, and I understand you because I'm from here. And I still continue to live here. And I want to see my county do great things. I'm taking $100,000 pay cut. I don't care. That'll let you know where my heart is. I care about my citizens, my people in DeKalb County. From North DeKalb to South DeKalb to East DeKalb, it doesn't matter. I care about you, the citizens of DeKalb. My job is to make everyone safe in the county. I will do that. I'll be one of your sheriffs that'll come out and have a glass of tea with you on your porch. All you have to do is call me. My number is the same. I give you my number before I get off here. If you call my cell, it's going to ring. That's the type of sheriff you want working for you. You don't want a sheriff who you call and you can't talk to them because they think they're God. I'm no God. I work for you, the taxpayers. So you can call me at 404-590-6269. Once again, 404-590-6269. If you have a problem in your neighborhood, if you feel DeKalb police is not helping you, you call me. That's my job. I'll come.
That's right, man. You know you my homeboy. You know we go all the way back, man. CHS, you know what I mean? It's been my pleasure to have you on my platform, man. And you know, if you need anything from me, you know you definitely got my vote. And if you need me to do anything for you, man, all you got to do is just pick up the phone and give me a call. And I appreciate you, dropping in and giving me the opportunity to speak with you as well.
Certainly, certainly. One more thing, when I take office, because I've already claimed it. The Bible said, if you claim it, you shall receive it. When I take office, whatever you need from me, please feel free to reach out to me. And I'm going to do one more extra step. Since you have been incarcerated in DeKalb County, I would like for you to come on board and also help me with my transition team once we take office, so I can hear your views, your thoughts of what needs to be changed. What better than someone who's already been there, who knows about it, to help make positive changes at the jail?
Well, all right, then. I like that, brother. I'm going to take you up on that. All right. So with that being said, man, I want to wish you a good night, man. And again, thank you. And like I said, I will be staying in contact with your movement and everything you're doing. I keep over what you're doing and keep the people aware of what you got going on. And again, I appreciate you for dropping in.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed Wednesday. Love you. Keep up the good work. CHS, them Eagles, baby, all day. You know what it is. Coach Moon, Stan Pritchett.
We could get out. Coach C. Bree, you know what I'm saying? We can't forget about the CHS, you know what I'm saying? Chris Tucker, the whole family, you know what I mean? So, shit, That's taking it all the way back, to the days
all the way.
Standing in the parking lot and joining in the hallway.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let you go, man. But listen, man, I'm gonna let you go because we get on those CHS stories, we'll never get off of here.
That's what's up. Once again, thank you, sir. God bless you. I appreciate you. Keep up the good work.